Next, we have public comment. Is anybody here for 5-minute public comment? Just state your name, ward, name, address, and ward.
Hi, Jada Ackerman, 1200 Park Place, Ward 2. And I'm going to take about 45 seconds of your time tonight. I want to show you my quarter. You can't touch this quarter, but you can look at it. It's the same on this side as it is on this side. Special quarter. And normally those quarters don't get released from the mint with mistakes. But this time it did because there's a coin shortage across the country right now, so they didn't have time to deal with fixing both sides. So, I mean, maybe some of you are questioning if I'm being honest. I mean, fact is you can see one side, right? That should be enough. I'm telling you I'm honest. But what if that's not enough? What if the people that elected you to your position want you to question me, to see the other side, to take a look? What if they want you to validate what I'm saying? The truth is, the seats that you hold belong to them. They don't belong to you. The decisions that you make in those seats should represent what they want. I held public office for 9 years. I get it. I understand the position that you're in. What do? Do you trust me? I mean, you can see this side of the quarter. I'm telling you that both sides are exactly the same. Or do you listen to them who's saying, question her, show both sides? If I were sitting in your seat, I would do what they asked because they're who elected me. And I would say, maybe I need to see both sides of that quarter because guess what? There's two sides.
I'm going to start off by reading a letter I received today. My name is Tyson Anderson. I live at 1203 Park Place, Ward 1. I am devastated I cannot be here tonight, for I am in college and do not live at home during the school year. My heart is breaking ever since I heard the news of what has happened to the chief of police, but not for him. My heart does not break for my father, for I know he strengthens himself through adversity as a true leader should. No one said my heart breaks for the soul who doesn't know what an amazing police officer and even better human being looks like. To say my father has a positive impact on this community would be an understatement. He has dedicated his life to his career and has touched so many lives in the process. He has had to sacrifice so much for this town, such as time with family, personal time off, and even family vacations. Yet the people that should have his back are the ones that cannot be trusted. The amount my father has offered to this town is immaculate. He donates his time off to work events, takes time to talk to people in the streets, and takes time out of his personal life at home to take phone calls. I've never known my dad not to be a cop. I've always been proud to tell people that my dad is a police officer. Because of the impact that his job has made on my life is why I've chosen to go into the law enforcement career. I've always been proud to tell people that I'm from Marysville. I think it's an amazing little town with great people. But today I'm not proud to call this place my home. To see people wanting to take away a community leading figure like my father is gut-wrenching. Most of you here tonight will know the impact my father has had on this community, and some of you may have seen it firsthand. And to those people who know what I'm talking about would agree with me that this town's rightful chief of police is the most upfront, honest, and trustworthy man I have ever met. And if some of you up there tonight were the half a man he is, then I would not have to write this letter. Sincerely, Noah Ackerman. I've prepared my own comments. I stand before you in support of Chief Ackerman. I would encourage anyone else in the audience to step forward and speak or simply state their name and echo their support for our chief. For 22 years, Chief Ackerman has served our community honorably, with honesty and integrity, and with the betterment of our community in mind. Chief Ackerman is more accomplished as an officer of the law than anyone in the room in their respective fields, making him an asset to our town. He was the youngest president and only Kansas law enforcement executive to have ever sat as president of the board of the FBI LEDA, which is the Law Enforcement Executive Development Association that has members from across the United States and 15 foreign countries. A person can only accomplish such a position through building tremendous amount of trust among their peers. The same trust has been built by Chief Ackerman in our community in the 22 years he has served. Truly, I wonder why we deserve such an individual to lead our police force and feel a deep sense of gratitude and pride in him as a leader. In addition to his services as Chief Ackerman volunteers countless hours of his time to our community, from helping with the Big Blue Barbecue, the Mother's Day Market and Chicken Dinner, Rotary, coaching kids wrestling, and calling every home football game, to name a few. Again, demonstrating the lengths he goes for the betterment of our community. I'm embarrassed and dumbfounded at the actions taken to remove Chief Ackerman from his position on Friday, September 3rd, with absolutely no reason or just cause given. It is your job as City Council to do what is in the best interest of the community, and allowing one individual to have sole power to fire whom he wants certainly is not in the best interest of our community. Given your poor sense of judgment as a taxpayer, I am very concerned as to what a wrongful termination suit will cost this community. I am appalled at the lack of leadership exemplified by this council and how easily you've been manipulated by the current city administrator and the direct control over non-elected personnel you have given him. I, however, appreciate Councilmember Hughes for asking that this power be discussed and ruled on by the State Attorney General's office, yet cannot understand why this request was simply swept aside. Furthermore, I agree with Councilmember Schroller in wondering why we even need a council when the power has been given to the city administrator. You as a council are elected to do a job and have taken it upon yourselves not to do so. I demand that this council move to reinstate Chief Ackerman to his position as Chief of Police immediately, as well as rescind its decision to pass Ordinance 1900, giving sole power over non-elected personnel to the city administrator. In addition, given his desire and quest for ultimate power, I would encourage this council to remove the city administrator from his position. If this council fails to do so, I pray after the November elections, the newly elected council has the spine to do so.
Hello?
My name is Sandy Schmitz. I live at 1309 North 13th. I run a store downtown. I've known Todd since he was a little boy. I am a friend of their family. I am a neighbor. I'm a friend of his mother's. I've never known a finer guy in town. And I've had 2 grandchildren who have had drug issues, who have been in trouble with the police. That type of a situation, there was none other finer police officer to help them, to guide them, to help them with their problem. Also, they're encouraging my one grandson to start his own group for Drugs Anonymous, or whatever you want to call it. I just think there's no finer man in this town for this job. I love him very much, and I love his family, and I think you just have to do the right thing. I don't know I don't know about the problems. I don't know any gossip. I don't know anything about that. I have nothing to disagreement with anybody here. But I think you know that he is a good man, a good police officer, and thank you.
First, I'd like to start off by saying thank you for your assistance with the wall. We had 8,000, between 8,000 and 9,000 people attended the wall. Thank you very much for all your assistance in doing that.
Well, thank you for bringing that to town. I mean, you guys did a lot of
Well,
hard work bringing that here.
It was, yeah, it was worth it. Now, I've known Chief Ackerman since he was 9 years old. I worked as a police officer in this town for several years. Street department. I don't live in town. I've moved to the country. My wife was city clerk or deputy city clerk for 34 years, so I kind of think I paid my dues and I can talk to you. You will never find a better guy. I am proud that him and his brother followed in my footsteps. We talked about it before they did this, years ago. And I said, go for it, guys. It's very rewarding for you guys. It has been for me. I miss it terribly. When I left Frankfort, it kind of hurt because these people, I see a lot of my kids here. They were this tall when I was working, and I dealt with a lot of these people. I've known them for years. I've known a lot of you guys for years. I think you're making a mistake. I don't know what it's about. I know Todd to be a very diligent officer. We worked through Hunter Education together many times, many classes, so I know he works with kids. He's given me advice at times when I had a problem in Frankfort. He would come along and say, Dean, I can help you work through this. He helped me set up the SOP for Frankfort. They didn't have anything. They had to have. So guys, I think you ought to rethink this. You're going to lose a good man. Thank you.
Michelle Weitzel, 1604 Calhoun, Ward 1. I stand with Chief Ackerman. And I also would like to state, for those that are curious, this council meeting is not currently on Facebook Live right now, and I'm getting messages from people that wish they were here, and it's not currently live, so it would be great if that could happen.
Kyle Garacki, 1307 May Street, Ward 1. I would like to echo many of the sentiments that have been expressed out here tonight, and I'm sure that will continue to be expressed. I stand with Chief Ackerman. Many of you may not know this. I'm about to, my wife and I, Brittany, are about to have a son or daughter. We'll find out. Our due date's March 2nd. I am not sure what I can do to raise them with honesty and integrity and transparency as a son or daughter and a father, mother, if the people who we've elected in this office cannot be transparent or open or honest with us. Thank you.
My name's Maria Seamatter, address 1102 Elm. I don't even know what I was going to say before I got up here, but as I'm watching each of your reactions to the people that have elected you, to this council, Todd, thank you. Diane, thank you. Terry, thank you. Jason, thank you. Keith, thank you. Parker, thank you for giving us your attention. Austin, I haven't seen you look up except for now. These people that are getting up to stand in support of Ackerman, or not support Ackerman, whatever they choose, they deserve your undivided attention. Thank you.
I got it. Oh, yeah.
Hey, Austin, is Facebook fixed?
Yeah, I got it
Thanks
fixed.
for fixing that. Yeah. That's what he was doing, looking down people. Yeah,
Can I?
asking.
Hello?
Taylor Douglas, 901 North 10th Street. I am so very disappointed in the fact that such a small group of people get to decide what happens to the chief of police of a whole town. It should be up to the people, and there is no one that is more Marysville than Todd Ackerman. I stand with the chief of police, Todd Ackerman, because this man grew up here and decided to come back and work for this town, and he has done nothing but stand up for the people of this town, stand up for his own employees of this town. Most of you know my father, Terry Douglas, and he would have been the best advocate for Todd Ackerman because he knew how great of a chief he was. He knew how great of a police officer he was. And there is no one who upholds the law and is more fair than Todd Ackerman. And the fact that you have just decided that he is no longer fit for it is not okay, because he has volunteered so much of his time, not just to the police department, but to his community. Like everyone else here has said, he's done nothing but volunteer in this town and try to make this town a better place. And I don't know why you wouldn't want someone like that in your corner and standing up for your town, because that's all he's done. And all I would like to say is I hope you decide that the right decision is to reinstate Todd Ackerman, and decide that it should be the people of Marysville that decides the employment of who is protecting them. Thank you.
Jennifer Craig. I actually don't live in the city, but I still want to speak. I was the executive director for the Kansas Association Chiefs of Police. I was the first female director in the state. Todd Ackerman was on my board of directors and on my hiring committee. First and foremost, the only reason I even live in your community is because of Todd and Jada Ackerman. They are the ones that brought me into this community, encouraged me to be part of it, to get involved. I now live here and I'm married and have my children in your school system. And what I want to tell you from the law enforcement perspective is you are not going to find anyone better. He may disagree with some of your policies, and you know what? That should be okay, because maybe what he is representing out there is different than what you perceive behind this desk. Across the state, he is more than well respected in the state. And many of these men and women in blue would stand behind him, beside him, in front of him, given any second, any moment. He is well respected nationally. When you go to these national conferences, he is not only a trainer, he is a speaker, he is a friend, he is a mentor to many of the law enforcement up-and-comers. And so I would encourage you to really consider the steps that you guys are considering to take with this position. Because in this day and age, it is incredibly difficult to find someone who has been and will continue to be as committed to their community, to a small community like Marysville, to the people and their families, and to the up-and-coming officers that are willing to come into the career field. Thank you.
Hi, Jamie Anderson, 1203 Park Place, Ward 1. For those of you that don't know me, I'm a preschool teacher up at the school, and so even if I don't know you, I get to know your little people at school, your nieces, your nephews, your grandchildren, children, and thank you very much for allowing me a few minutes to speak. Obviously, you all know who I'm here in regards to, and I'm not going to take time to list off accomplishments and accolades, mainly because my time limit would not allow that for me to do it justice. But I will ask you just to look around at the faces in this room that are your constituents, literally the faces of your city and your community, here passionately in support of this person. I moved to this town 6.5 years ago, and I've loved it here ever since. I have been Marysville's biggest cheerleader in encouraging young couples and families to join our community. I have brought many, many people to town, telling them how great it is. I have immense pride in this town, and today I truly stand here ashamed of what is happening and ashamed of leadership right now. I'm ashamed that this city that I truly love, that I honestly call home now, don't even call my hometown home anymore, apparently holds little to no respect for loyalty and for time served. Recent decisions have been made behind closed doors without public knowledge and seemingly without given reason. I'm not dumb enough to think there are not reasons this has been done. I'm not. But this is not how it's dealt with. Those reasons should be given. Power should be shared. It should be 100% shared with people that have investment involvement and relationships within this community, which is lacking in some people. I know that at least 2 of you council members have had concerns over the recent ordinance passed, and I know that because I'm an avid reader of the newspaper, because I get my news that way. And I truly thank you for voicing those concerns. That's how I knew about what's happening, that there were concerns about it not even seeming like we had a council anymore, and even asking for legal advice on this decision. I appreciate your honesty in looking into that. But I will say that the recent ordinance passed and the recent personnel decisions that have been made are breeding a lot of mistrust in this town. Anger and shock and doubt are really starting to take root in your community. I know that some of what has been decided has been deemed a matter of trust, and I think I speak for everyone behind me that I truly mean that there is only one person in this world that I trust more than anyone else, and that is Chief Ackerman. Literally with my life, literally with my children on a weekly basis. That person is who we're all in here support of this evening. He is a true pillar of the community. I heard his voice over the loudspeaker at the football game while I was walking in here. Like, while we were walking in here, you guys, that's huge. Someone people feel comfortable with talking to. Why? Do you know how people have called me before and asked for his phone number instead of calling 911 because they needed to talk to a police officer and they wanted to talk to him? That's why people talk in our town, is because of who it is. Who it is. People feel safe with him. He's literally dedicated his entirety of an adult life, the entirety of an adult life to this town, who can be found in every corner and facet of our community, whether it be school, community, or simply having a relationship with, do you see the ages in this room? The walks of life, business everywhere. What incredible qualities for a person or a leader to have. Being a preschool teacher, I admittedly have little knowledge of city code. I'll be the first to say that. So following my gut feelings of anger and shock and disappointment, I was prompted to do a little research. And upon reading the code of ethics that our government and city administrator is charged to uphold, I felt compelled to share some quotes from our code. Chapter 1, Article 213. Section A states that the city government and the administrator is responsible to the people. It states that decisions should be made in the proper channels and that the public should have confidence in the integrity of its government. Section B states that the city government and administrator are agents of public purpose and hold office for the benefit of the public. That public interest must be the primary concern and private affairs set aside. So please explain to me and to this community how that code of ethics is currently being followed and upheld, primarily how our interest as the public is being held as primary concern. I honestly doubt that any of you up there, who all seem like lovely people, could honestly look me in the eye and tell me that recent decisions were made in the public interest of my city in mind, with the safety and well-being and trust of my family in mind. You can't. In addition, anyone can see the not so coincidental timing of recent personnel actions to a recent ordinance passed. Look at that timing and tell me this isn't a personal situation between 2, maybe 3 people. Look at the timing and tell me this is about our city and public interest. Issues arise. Things need to be dealt with personnel. I know that. I've been teaching for 13 years, and I know that things have to be dealt with in the workplace. But this is not how you deal with it, especially after someone serves you for 22 years. Thank you for taking the time to hear from myself and others. I have true love for this city, and being somebody that is around people all the time, I am truly discouraged to hear how people are speaking about what's happening in our city. Disappointment and mistrust are spreading rapidly, and I urge you as our city officials to serve your community and constituents with more strength and bravery, and to open your eyes to the support that is in this community. Because I know exactly where my trust lies, and it's the person whose name is a household name in many, if not all, homes in our community, and a person whose roots run deep and whose involvement, investment, and love for this town and support from the community and the city that you serve should really speak volumes. Thank you. Please do what's right. Thank you.
Hello.
My name's Rick Shane. I think you know who I am. I didn't expect to speak tonight. I was asked to come. You know, I spent 3 decades in local government. I have a lot of respect for local government. More respect for local government than I have for national government, but that's another subject. You know, I spent 17 and a half years as city administrator of this city. I came here in 1999. Todd followed me. Well, he was here already. He came on board in April after I came. I spent 17 years with Todd Ackerman. I'm aware of some of the issues that are going on behind the scenes. So it's no great surprise of what's going on, the trust issues, and there's a few other things that have happened. But you know, in those 17 years, I saw this man. He worked his butt off. Did he work an 8 to 5 job? No, he worked a 24/7 job. This man would work all day. He went to school down in Manhattan for I don't know how many years. Got his bachelor's, got his master's. And as Tyson said, he has a distinction of being the youngest man and the only one from Kansas to serve on the leaderboard. Folks, that's only for FBI graduates. And one of the things I did here, heck, I tried to get Todd to leave. Not because I didn't want to work with him, it's because the man's qualified to run a major metropolitan department. But you know why he stayed? He had other offers. He could have been a KBI agent. He had other offers that I'm not sure any of you may not be aware of. But he stayed because he loved this community. And he stayed because of his family and the community. Do I expect you guys to do something? You're going to do something. You're going to do what you want to do. And it won't surprise me whatever you do, because I worked with local governments for 30 years. And I know how they work. Once their mind is set, that's the way they go. They don't care about all these people that love the chief that come in. You see it happen all the time. But I'm telling you what, if you don't restore him, he's going to have he's going to be the one better off, because you don't deserve this man, because he is too good for this city. I couldn't get him to leave. I told him, Todd, you need to be somewhere else, man. You're too qualified to be here. But he stayed because he loved this community and the family, and he loved these people like this. So you guys are going to do what you want to do. I'd honestly be surprised if the public support really changes your mind. And I understand the issues here with the environment. And I understand Austin's point of view with supervision. I went through that. And even when I was city administrator, did I have the authority to fire the chief? No. There's two positions exempt. And that was the chief of police and the city clerk. And I learned to live with it. But I tell you what, I never had a problem with trust of the police chief. And as Jamie said, she trusts him fully. Your trust problems are not with your police chief. They're not with your police chief. Thank you.
Anybody else here for 5-minute public comment?
I have something. Nobody else does.
No, I spoke before you had it up.
It's on YouTube. It's dual recorded.
Yeah. Go on.
Nobody else for 5-minute public comment?
I have something quick.
Yeah. For 5-minute public comment?
Yes,
Okay.
just take a minute.
All right.
I'm Diane Schroller from Ward 4. Beth Skinner just called me, or I got an email from Beth Skinner, and she was wondering if there was any possibility that she and Laura, if there's any money in the plant fund. I know we've exceeded our $500 from the gardens plants, but she and Laura have expended $411 more of their own money, plus all the volunteer hours that they have spent, many, many hours, and just wondered if there was any possibility that they could be refunded any of their money at all. So we can think about it. We don't have to decide right now. They'll have to get the receipts and stuff, but we might consider it, so.
Laura who?
Huh?
Laura who, so I can get the name?
You would have asked me.
I'm sorry. You can think about it. It's
Yeah.
okay. I just got to record it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Right. Anybody else for 5-minute public comment?
And I would just like to know what Todd did that was so bad. Tell
We
me.
can't comment.
Nobody can
Can't
comment? That's a shame because, you know, his life is open to being questioned, and then you can't tell anybody, but that's okay, because we have our way to find out, I guess. We are in a small town. So when you all want to get elected, just remember. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Debbie Henderson, 1508 Park Place, and I didn't plan to speak either. But I just want to know, and you don't have to answer because I know you won't, but I've seen rocking and laughing, and I've seen, you know, not wanting to look at the audience. Is it a personal issue? I mean, if it's deep down personal because you have an issue with the police chief personally, that you would destroy his life, this town, you better think about it, okay? Your heart will answer one day. It will.
I'm Kate Tomer. I live at 905 North 9th, and I'm Ward 2, and I support Chief Ackerman.
Anybody else here for 5-minute public comment?
Lori Douglas, 901 North 10th. I just have to say that at one point in time, my husband worked with Todd hand in hand to make the public understand that the police are here for them. And in one fell swoop, by taking away Todd's position, by taking him out of that position, you are destroying a lot of the trust that our community had in the police department and in the city council. And Todd has come every year that we've done junior achievement at the elementary school, and I've requested that Todd be the person who presents to my class because of his connection with those kids and how he encourages them to come back and be a part of their community and to be a bigger part of their community, even as an elementary student, to support, go to ball games, go and volunteer places. This man has given his entire life for this community, and I think he deserves the recognition by not destroying his name.
My name's Michelle Mintzmeyer. I do not live in your community, but I feel like I'm part of your community. I teach at the elementary school. My husband is a state trooper, and he has worked with Todd for years. And I can say I agree with all of the people behind me. You will not find a better officer than Todd. He is well-known throughout the entire country, really. I mean, he has connections, and you guys, if we ask him to do anything at the school, he comes. If you ask him to do anything in the community, he comes. He is a good man, and he and Jada have been very good to my family and helped raise my son, basically, when he came to school over here. And it is very sad to me that you're destroying the reputation of this good town. This is a very good community, and a lot of people have wanted to come here. And just a few bad eggs is going to make a bad impression on this community. So I really hope that you reconsider what you're trying to do here and really do get the facts before you rule on things. Thank you.
My name is Hank Brucker, 1200 Debbie Lane, Ward 1. I've never come to a council meeting before to express an opinion because I didn't feel I had to until this day. This is overreach, people. This is dividing this community. Is that the intention? That's what's happening. Do you realize that? It's dividing this community, and it needs to stop. Stop right now. To Jada and Todd, the community apologizes for what's going on. This is an embarrassment. You can do something about it. I call upon you to do so. Thank you very much.
Anyone else for a 5-minute public comment?
This is taking a lot of bravery for me. First off, my name is Michaela Schell. What is my address? I live out in the country. Does that matter? I own a local business. I own 12th Street Liquor. I see all your guys' lovely faces there. I have seen also lovely faces of all the officers when alarms get set off, or we have something mishandled in the store, or where law enforcement is needed. And I think that we need to take a step back and think about what we're doing to our community. We have a lovely man to help serve in our community, and we need to make sure that we remain with him in our community and listen to what the people are saying. I mean, people care about what happens to this town. So if we can reconsider, I'm suggesting that is done. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else for 5-minute public comment?
Hi, guys. If my wife knew I was standing here right now, she would shoot me and you'd have to call 911. But I have cut Todd's hair for years, so I kind of get to know him. He's right there in front of me. And I remember telling him that I've considered, getting the thing, with the guns. And I've never gotten that program because Todd is chief, and I told him, you're protecting me, so I don't need to go do that. I've got a couple of 22s that ain't worth much, but anyway, I trust him with my life every day. And I leave my barber shop. By the way, I own Ryan's Barber Shop downtown. Some of you probably don't know that. I leave there with money every once in a while, like daily, and I never have a bad feeling about carrying the money to my car because people like Todd and his officers are around, and it ain't gonna happen. So he's got control of it. I mean, this is it. He's the man. So if you can find it in your heart to erase all this, this whole town will be a lot better off for it. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else here for 5-minute public comment? Okay. Move on to business and discussion items. First up, we have the homecoming tailgate, United Bank and Trust, on October the 1st.